and allow it to draw inward. Allow the awareness to anchor itself in your breath. Don't try to change the breath. We're not working with the breath. But just allow it to be an anchor, a magnet for the awareness. And as you inhale, feel the flowing waters of Mother Ganga flowing into you. She's flowing in front of us. But can you feel her flow inside of you? That presence of the Mother Goddess. That continual flow of liberation, freedom, moksha. As you inhale, feel the flow of Mother Ganga flowing to you. And feel it flow in and through all of your being, touching every cell, filling, awakening all of the cells of your being. And Mother Ganga is the bringer of liberation. So as she flows through you, feel her flowing and unhooking, unsticking, uprooting all of that within you that is holding you back and keeping you stuck. All of the illusion, the ignorance, the ego. Just feel those sacred waters of Mother Ganga washing through all of that. And as you exhale, allow yourself to let go into her waters. Letting go of that which is keeping you stuck. That which you're holding on to. Feeling her flow flowing through you. Just exhale and let go into those waters. Anger, grudges, pain, jealousies, resentment, judgment, all of that. Just exhale and let it go. Give it to Ma Ganga. And allow her to carry it out to Ganga Sagar and out to the sea. Slowly and gently, bring the palms of your hands together at chest level in Namaste. And gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. Press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. And slowly lower your hands and open your eyes. Welcome to Satsang. Sorry I wasn't there to join everybody in the sacred Ganga Aarti this evening. I was out and just got back, but I hope that everyone had a glorious, glorious experience in the Aarti. Starting as we always do with a question that's come in from our family joining us online through this beautiful gift of technology. And then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. There's a microphone, so just feel free to share your name and where you're from and your question. I have an overall understanding about waking, dreaming, and sleeping states. Could you please shed some light upon the fourth state, turiya? Okay. So one of the things that I love about Vedic philosophy is that even when you get into really kind of depth of philosophy, which this is, and we'll go there, that it actually is all guided to help us live our lives. That it's not philosophy for philosophy's sake. It's not philosophy for being a professor of philosophy or philosophy for winning a debate on philosophy. But it's philosophy for living our lives in truth and peace, for coming back to the truth of who we are. So, first of all, you should know, though, that there are entire courses, long courses, on the four states, and especially on turiya. I'm going to try to give it to you. holiday. I'm going to try to give it to you in just a few minutes, and particularly with what it can mean for your life. Let's see where the drums go. बात की यहाँ से जरा देख लेना ना, जाके देख लीजिए कोने कि थोड़ा सा शांत हो जाए, यहाँ पे सत्संग चल रहा है. So the first three states, as he says, I understand them, but for everyone else, the first three states are easy and obvious. Waking state, what we call jagrut, means I'm awake. This is my hand, this is my arm, this is a glass of water, now I'm drinking water. This is all the waking state. Everything that is happening, I'm awake. You're here, I'm here, we have a camera, we have a light, we have a pillar, we have a clock, we have a roof, we have a building. It's all here. It's real. And I know I'm awake, and I know I'm seeing it. And it's where we find ourselves saying things like, well, I saw it with my own eyes. I believe it. I was awake, I saw it, I witnessed it, it happened in front of me, it's real. That's waking state. Then we have dream state. Those of you who have studied anything about sleep know that there's basically three phases of sleep. There's light sleep, there's deep sleep, and there's dream sleep. Dream sleep is the REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. Deep sleep is the most restorative. No dreams, but it's actually when our body, on all of the physical, neurological levels, heals. And light sleep is hopefully on its way to deep sleep. It's like it's good that you got some sleep, but you haven't benefited from either the depths of restorative sleep or from dream sleep. Okay, so waking we get. Dream sleep, what we call swapna. It's very interesting because in the dream we think we're awake. And like I say, here I am, my hand, my arm, my water, I'm drinking. Well, the same thing happens in our dreams. Close your eyes, have a dream. Everything seems very real. I got in a car, I drove to the grocery store, I was in the middle of buying groceries when this happened or that happened. You dream, you go to the airport, you get on an airplane, you fly to Paris, you have a chocolate croissant for breakfast. I mean, it's all so real. And yet, when we wake up, we say, oh, that was just a dream. Two different states. They both seem real, but they're different states. Then we have the deep sleep state, what we call sushupti. That's a state in which there is no dreams. We have no awareness of being there, except something very interesting happens. Even though you say things like, I slept like a rock, well, means I wasn't aware. A rock is, whenever we need a good metaphor for something that doesn't think, isn't alive, doesn't have feelings, a rock. I slept like a rock. I slept like a log, like a piece of wood of a dead tree. No life in me whatsoever. And yet, when we wake up from that, we have full awareness of like, oh my God, I had such a great night's sleep. So even though in that moment of the deep sleep, I'm not accessing consciousness or awareness, hence the rock or log analogy, nonetheless, there is an awareness that is just hidden because in retrospect I can say, oh my God, what a fantastic night's sleep. It was so restful, so restorative. I knew nothing, but I know that it was restful and restorative. So I was there on some level, even though I wasn't aware of being there while it was happening. Okay, so these are the easy first three states. I imagine there's no one here who says, oh, wait, I don't understand waking, or oh, wait, I don't understand dreaming, or I don't understand deep sleep. Turiya, literally the word means the fourth state. It's an interesting name for it because turiya is always there. The first three cannot simultaneously coexist. Either you're awake or you're sleeping. You're not both at the same time. And when you're sleeping, you're either in deep sleep or REM sleep. You cannot be in both simultaneously. But turiya is actually that which exists throughout it all. The closest way to understand it, all of these analogies are not great, but it's the coming back to the self that is real. So let's go back for a moment to reality and dreams. I say this is real. Okay. But then in my dream, that seems real. And one of the beautiful, I won't go into it, but one of the beautiful, beautiful stories in our history and our philosophy is the story of King Janak. Well, actually, you know what, I'll tell the story. It's a great story. So King Janak was this amazing, wonderful king. And one night he had a dream. And his dream was that he had been ousted from his kingdom, a whole long nightmare, basically. Kicked out, chased by soldiers, lost this, lost that, lost everything, homeless, hungry. And he wakes up. And suddenly he's back in his, royal bed. And he calls out to his guard. The guard comes in, he hears him wake up at the start, and he says, is this real or is that real? And of course the guard has no idea what he's talking about. And over the ensuing days, they call different doctors. What's he saying? This or that? Is this real? Is that real? Because in King Janak's mind, being ousted, being kicked out, being homeless, being hungry, being chased, it felt so real. As anyone who's ever had a dream or a nightmare knows. They feel real. And then he wakes up and he's like, this feels real. When I was that, this disappeared. When I'm here, that disappears. What is real? Finally, in a beautiful royal courtyard where they've called all of the greatest and wisest sages and philosophers, that somebody should help this king understand what's he even asking? Like nobody even understood the question. Because all he can say is this real or that real, this real or that real? And nobody understands. And a beautiful being, Ashtavakra, comes in. Beautiful not physically, he's actually physically broken in 8 different places, hence the name. But a divine intelligence, an incredible sage. The Ashtavakra Gita is one of the most powerful teachings. And the king asks this question, and he immediately understands what he's asking. Immediately. And he says to King Janak, when you were hungry and homeless and afraid for your life, who was the you who felt hungry, homeless, scared? And King Janak says, me, I. And he says, and when you woke up in your bed, and you were the king again, and everything was yours, and you had it all, and you were not hungry, and you were not homeless, and you were not being chased, who felt that? And King Janak says, I. And so he says to him, neither that is real nor this is real. The only thing that is real is the you who is aware of that and aware of this. And that's what the entire Ashtavakra Gita and his teachings are centered around. Now, again, that in and of itself is like a PhD program. People literally do their PhD on that. So, in short, the teaching regarding the waking state, the dreaming state, is that teaching. They both seem real. When we wake up from the dream, we realize it's not real. It all was happening inside of us. And when we wake up from this, when we become enlightened, awakened, liberated, whatever word we use for that self-realization, that God realization. So this too seems like a dream. We realize it is all happening inside of me. Now, it's important to realize we're not saying they're fake. We're not saying that it's an illusion as in you're crazy. You wouldn't say, well, you're crazy for having a dream. Just say, it was real, but it was real in me. Every single thing that happened, the plane that took me to Paris, the sand, the Champs-Élysées, the cafe, the chocolate croissant, it all was happening in me. And when I, in this physical reality, go to the airport, get on an airplane, fly there, it's also all happening in me. That which is real is that which is aware. That's turiya. Is that state of being that transcends and permeates it all. So you can think about, another way of thinking about it is in the ocean. So imagine that wakefulness is a wave, as most of our wakeful lives are. They go up, they go down, they're turbulent sometimes, they're calm sometimes, but our waking life tends to be very wave-like. We're going up, we're coming down, we're going up, we're coming down, we're enjoying, we're angry, we're happy, we're sad. Dreams are also a wave. Different type of wave, but a wave nonetheless. Same thing, up and down, the story, the surface. Turiya is the ocean itself. Deep sleep in this analogy would be a still ocean. There's no waves. I'm asleep, so there's no waking waves, but I'm not dreaming, so there's no dream waves. Just a totally still ocean would be dream sleep. But turiya is the ocean itself. Whether there are waves, whether it's calm. That from which it all arises, that to which it all returns, that constant state. And that's why the practices around accessing turiya are the same practices around becoming conscious, anchoring in awareness, witness, that sakshi, that even in a state of deep sleep, who's aware? Like, who knows that was a good night's sleep? It's an interesting question. If you've never asked yourself that, it's an interesting question for meditation. How do I know I had a good night's sleep? If I slept like a rock, who was there? Consciousness was there. I just wasn't conscious of consciousness. My conscious mind was not turned on, but consciousness was there. Doesn't require my brain turned on to be there. It requires my brain turned on to interact with it, to be aware of it, to benefit from it in a way. But it doesn't require my brain to be turned on to exist. The other way we know that is that it exists even when we leave our bodies. That from life to life, when we speak about soul, spirit, consciousness, that which is not born does not die. So that fourth state is the ocean itself. And it's a beautiful meditation and a beautiful practice as we live to be in the state of, I am the one who's conscious. That state of awareness, the state of subject rather than object. I am the one who is aware rather than I am the object of which I'm aware. Most of us live as the object. I'm angry. Well, that's an object of awareness. There's a part of me that is aware that anger is happening, but I'm identifying as the anger itself. I am angry. I am fat. I am thin. I am tall. I am short. I am rich. I'm poor. I'm old. I'm young. I'm identifying as the object. But spirituality gives us that teaching, that encouragement. No, you're not the object, because see, the object keeps changing. First it was young and thin, then it became old and fat, or vice versa. First it's angry, then it's happy, then it's angry again, then it's happy again. But you are constant, like King Janak was told. You're hungry and homeless. You're rich and powerful. That keeps changing. But you who is aware is what's real. So that's turiya. That's the fourth state. But again, just lastly, for anyone who just walked in, it's important to remember turiya is always there. I'm awake and I can access turiya. I can't access REM sleep right now. I'd have to lie down and go to sleep. I can't access deep sleep right now. I'd have to lie down and go to sleep and go through a good sleep cycle. But I could access turiya. Similarly, people who practice lucid dreaming, for example, it's a way of accessing that level of awareness even while I'm dreaming. And as far as deep sleep, we're not so much able to be aware of it, hence it wouldn't be deep sleep, but we are aware in retrospect. So we at least know that consciousness was there. Great. Yes. An opportunity for philosophy. Yes. And then we'll come to you. Of course.
I'm Maria. I'm from Argentina. Thank you for your time. My question has a relation about what we talked yesterday, that the universe works in our favor, and also the destiny and the things that they are meant to be. Then I've been trying to start my own business for 3 years now. At times I feel like I give my all, but the project isn't progressing, neither in terms of work or financially. Then I know this question applies in everything on life, in relationships and boundaries and more, but I would really like to know if I just keep trying, or if it's my ego telling me, yeah, you can do it, keep going, or maybe God has another divine plan for me. Then, yeah, my question is, at what point? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. And it would be so nice if there were some equation, right? Plug in the number of years you've been at it. Plug in, what your skill level is. Plug in where you've reached, and then the end result would tell you whether to stay with it or not. Unfortunately, we don't have any such equation. A general rule of thumb is that almost everything worthwhile in life requires work. From relationships, to health, to financial security, to a garden, to a good meal. It all requires some degree of work, some degree of time and attention and commitment and planning. And not all of us are meant to be everything. And there absolutely is an importance of clarifying what your role is. For example, I don't sing very well. I love to sing. I sing full-hearted and all kinds of kirtan and arti and programs, and I love it. But I don't have a very good singing voice. Luckily, God doesn't mind, because he's the only one I'm singing for. But point being, that if I dedicated my life, if I had decided that what I wanted to be was a professional singer, I could certainly get better than I am now. I'm not hopeless. I am sure that if I spent time with a good professional voice coach, they would help me get a little better. But given what I came onto earth with, the package deal, I never would sell an album. Again, I could improve, but it's not in my karmic package to have the skill, the ability, the gift of a voice that someone would actually pay money to hear sing. But the idea that I wanted to get better, it's not ego, it's just, you want to do it? Sure, of course. By all means, do whatever you want to do. But we've got to be clear also on what are my skills, what are my abilities, what are my resources. At 5'3", and now, 54, but even, 30 years ago, it's very unlikely that I ever could have become a professional basketball player. Doesn't mean that I couldn't become a decent basketball player, but it means that it would be very unlikely, regardless of how hard I worked, that any professional basketball team was actually going to recruit me, pay me to play basketball on their team. It doesn't mean that there is anything less worthy or less wonderful or less divine about me. It just means that we have clarity. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'm not so good at. And no judgment around it, just clarity. And so what I would say to you is, as you're pursuing business, not all of us are put on earth to do business. Some are, and some are put on earth to write poetry, or to sing, or to play basketball. But we've all got different package deals of ability, of skill, of opportunity, of resource, of all of that. So keep trying if you are enjoying it. Because here's the thing, when you're working on something that is in alignment with your Dharma, even when it's really hard work, and even though you may not love every minute of it, there is absolutely an enjoyment that goes along with it. Because you're getting closer, you're fulfilling in every moment that which is meaningful to you, important to you. But if every minute of it just feels like you are dragging yourself, and you have nothing that you want to get out of bed for in the morning, and you cannot wait to clock out at 5 o'clock, and you find yourself, setting your watch ahead 3 or 4 minutes so that you're clocking out at 4:57 instead. Well, it's worth asking yourself whether it's really worth it. Is that really what you're put on earth to do? And check in. And again, yes, there are times that we go through, for example, school is like that for a lot of people. They hate it. Dragging themselves out, watching the clock. And yet, it's a limited amount of time that's going to hand them something, a degree, at the end that they know is what they need in order to get where they're going. So most of us, even those of us who don't really enjoy school, we tolerate it because we know this thing, this degree, is actually going to open up doors for me that I want opened in my life. So I am prepared to go through these years of not enjoying so much. But in your work, as you're plodding along with the hard work, along with the energy that you put in, there should be some degree of enjoying what you're doing, some degree when you get out of bed every morning, that you've got something to look forward to. Otherwise, the question is, why bother? Right? I mean, there's no bit of research, spiritual research or scientific research, that says even if you hated every minute earning it, that money is going to buy you happiness. In fact, what all of the research shows is the opposite. It can't buy you happiness. So rather than sacrificing joy along the way, do something that's moving forward. And yet, as I look at you, you're young. Lots and lots of people in business spend many years not succeeding until they succeed. And so that's fine, as long as you are not hating every moment of it. If you can enjoy the learning experience, and you're not having the sense of just, it's all about results, it's all about results, it's all about results. If you can enjoy the process, enjoy the strategy, enjoy the creativity every day, try to get yourself into flow so that whatever is meant to happen in this business flows through you. Then yeah, keep working at it. Absolutely. But if you're doing it because someone told you that you should do business, or because it seemed like the practical thing to do, because, hey, I got to earn money, might as well do business, and you're hating it, and you're not succeeding, and it's been years, you may want to think about something else. Yeah. Great. Yes. and then you, sorry. Yes, and then you, sorry.
Mataji, namaskar. I am Abhinav. I am from India. And my question to you is, ma'am, as we all know that everyone has to leave this body someday. Here I want to understand as how can someone detach himself from the emotional or social bonding, especially from family, or if I put it another way, how can we overcome the fear of losing our loved ones, especially parents,
Okay.
or I would say especially mom?
Yeah. So, the only way to overcome the fear of losing a loved one, especially a parent, as you say, the only way to overcome it is to know for absolute certainty that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's like fearing the sunrise. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I can lock myself in my room. I can put the pillow over my head. I can put on an eye mask and absolutely refuse to see it, to ever go outside, to ever open my blinds. But that doesn't stop the sun from rising. Fearing the death of our loved ones is literally like fearing the rising sun. It is going to happen. Non-negotiable. Guaranteed. Because the only way that it doesn't happen is if you die first. There isn't a third option. Either you lose them or they lose you. And I am sure that the last thing you want for your parents is for them to deal with the suffering of losing you. Which means you are going to have to deal with the suffering of losing them. By God's grace, it won't be soon, but it's always too soon. It's always too soon. You know, I have a good friend whose mother is 95, 96. Has been healthy her entire life, just diagnosed with cancer. And they're actually thinking of putting her through chemo. And we're like, really? Really? I mean, you're going to take a 95-year-old woman who's lived a beautiful, healthy life, and you're going to stick her through this intense, she's got like stage 4 cancer. So it's not like a light course of, 2 or 3 chemos that she'll be fine. It's a heavy duty, awful course of chemo. And the doctors have said if she doesn't do it, she has another, year or 2 max. But they're so attached to her having more that they're prepared to put her through this suffering. And I've been trying to help them understand, you know what? 95 itself is a blessing, and you may get another year or 2. Like, she could be 97. Isn't that great? Wouldn't you rather her go at 97, having lived a healthy, strong life, than go at maybe 98, having lived the last 3 years, vomiting, nauseous, sick, in pain, or hair falling out? I mean, really, you want to do that to her? To get another 8 months, 12 months, maybe? If she were 9, then you think, all right, well, maybe getting her the extra year is going to buy enough time that we find a cure. Or we find some other option, or it's just a matter of getting her over the hump. But I share the story because it's never enough. It's always too soon. You never hear anyone say, oh that was enough. Yeah, it's good they're gone. I mean, they lived plenty. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to love so much that even after 95 years, we're like, no, don't go. Like, we want more. It's wonderful. And yet, we all have to go. And that means your parents have to go. And the best way to prepare yourself for it, quite literally, is to know it's going to happen. Doesn't mean be morbid, but it means just be aware. Just be aware. And it brings you into a great gratitude in every moment. There's actually a practice in the philosophy of Stoicism that, while I don't subscribe to the fullness of the philosophy on some of the levels, I do love some of it. And one of their beautiful practices is you imagine for 30 seconds, don't go beyond that or you get depressed and miserable, but 30 seconds, imagine that you've lost your loved one. Imagine they're gone. And immediately in you, you start to have that panic, that awful feeling. And then you realize, oh my God, they're still here. And it's one of the quickest and most beautiful ways to actually turn sadness into joy, or indifference into joy, or boredom into joy. Like, it's like a jump start for our hearts again. The same person you were just taking advantage of, suddenly, it's like, oh my God, they're still here. Oh my God, I love you so much. Wow. 30 seconds of imagining that they're not here. And suddenly you're so grateful again. So it's a good practice, because at some point they're not going to be here. With regard to the detachment, what the detachment is about is actually anchoring in something deeper than their physical form. And this is a beautiful practice that you can do. What you love in your mother is not just her body. How old are you? 49. 40. So in 40 years of your life, your mother's body has changed so many times. She went from being presumably a woman in her 20s to presumably a woman in her 60s now. She's gone through so many changes of her body. But you've never stopped loving her. There's been no break. You don't love her more or less based on what's happening with her body. In the same way, as her body changes form in its final way, from what we see back to the ash that we came from, that love can stay, because the love is not of the body, the love is of the soul. If you loved the body, then every time her body changed, you would either love her more, love her less, stop loving her briefly till you got to know the new body. But there's no break. It's a consistent love, which means what you're loving is not her body. You're loving that which is constant. You're loving essence. You're loving spirit. You're loving soul. And that's going to be here even when her body's gone. So the best detachment is actually a reattachment to something deeper than the body. Detachment doesn't mean I stop caring. It doesn't mean I'm disconnected. It means actually I'm connected to something much deeper, much more eternal than the body. So use this beautiful opportunity with her whenever you're with her. Focus on connecting soul to soul rather than body to body. Focus on her essence, her spirit, not just like the food that she's making you or the words she's saying or the feel of her hand when you hold it. But focus on that essence of mom, because that'll always be there.
Namaste.
Namaste.
My name is Jairam. I'm from Australia. So I've been finding myself getting quite worked up when I interact with people who have different beliefs compared to mine about spiritual practices or philosophies as compared to the teachings or practices that I've chosen to follow and accept. You know, for example, I have some friends who believe that a certain version of the Bhagavad Gita is the only legitimate one. Or, you know, in myself, like, you know, from the school of Hatha Yoga that I've learned, you know, they believe that yoga asanas should definitely not be taught with hands-on adjustments, right? So, as compared to people who do. And I've got lots of friends who follow different saints, different gurus, and I follow my own particular, and we all believe that our guru and our deity is the highest and
Yes.
the best of the best, right? The real deal. So all these things, you know, they're subjective, can't be proven objectively. So I guess it all goes by faith and intuition. So how do I interact with people without feeling like, you know, it's threatening or challenging my sense of faith and intuition in the path that I've chosen to follow?
Beautiful. Recognize that each path is exactly right for different people. It's not only a subjective situation, it's actually an individual situation. So for example, you and I could go out for a meal together. And not only might we have different preferences, different subjective ideas about what's good and what's not, but actually if we were examined by an Ayurvedic doctor before we went out to lunch, the Ayurvedic doctor would say to me, here are the things to eat that are actually going to be the most beneficial for your constitution. And the Ayurvedic doctor might say to you, here are the things to eat that are the most beneficial for your constitution. And those two things may be totally different. So, A, we have a subjectiveness. I like my food cooked this way, you like your food cooked that way. And actually, certain types of food, certain ways of preparation are the ways that are going to make my physical body function at the highest, the healthiest, the most aligned. And totally different foods and different ways of preparation are going to make you function at your highest. And that's the same thing with different spiritual traditions, different gurus, different philosophies, different yoga practices. There isn't a right one. The right one is what works for you. We all have different characteristics, different personalities, different karmic packages. We have different challenges. We have different blocks. And for some people, an aspect of the divine in form is going to be much more accessible than accessing a formless, nameless source or cosmic reality. And for some people, it could be the exact opposite. In the same way, for some people, having a guru who is much older works better for them. For some people, having someone who's much younger works for them. For some, having a masculine father figure. For some, having a feminine mother figure. For some, having someone who feels more like a friend on the path, like Krishna was to Arjuna, works better. What matters is that they help you get there. That in the presence of that guru, are you able to live in and experience and touch your true light? Because that's what a guru is the one who removes darkness and brings light. And the light that the guru shines is meant to be the light of us on us, right? I always tell people, there isn't, unfortunately, an equation to know who is the right guru for you, but there is a pretty good way to know who isn't the right guru, which is someone who's just so busy shining the light on themselves. Because the light that the guru shines is meant to be the light on us. It's meant to show us who we are. It's not about, hey, look at me. It's, can I help you? Can my light shine in such a way so that you access and see the light of you? That's the point. So, different beings in different bodies, speaking different languages, with different backgrounds of different religions, with different ways of teaching, are going to be exactly the right one. You know, I remember on a much less deep level, but apt, I remember when I was in junior high school, there was this math teacher who everyone hated because she was really, really, really tough and really kind of obnoxious. And for me, math, through my karmic package, math tended to come really easy to me. I was always really good in math, but I was lazy. And I was kind of complacent. And I was a like bare minimum type of student. I liked getting A's, but I was not interested in doing like a lot of work. And whenever I'd ask questions in class, I'd raise my hand and ask a question. And she'd get furious with me. She'd like bawl me out, basically. And, you know, or force me to the chalkboard to figure it out for myself. And my ego hated her. And I loved to like talk trash about her with all of my friends who struggled in math and really were traumatized by her. But on a deeper level, even in junior high school, I actually liked her. I never would have admitted it, but I actually did, because she forced me to show up and find the answer in myself, which I actually could do. And as much as I hated standing in that chalkboard alone, it forced me to come up with the answer. And she ended up being like one of my favorite teachers throughout my educational life. Now, for someone who really was struggling in math, she was way too tough, not nearly compassionate enough, had way too high expectations. So somebody who was much more trained in dealing with people for whom math did not come easily would have been a much better teacher for many people in the class, even though she was actually the best teacher for me. Anybody else would have coddled me. And what I needed was not to be coddled, I needed to be challenged. And so in the same way, on a much deeper spiritual level, we've all got different challenges, different issues. Some people's issue was actually math. My issue was laziness. For someone whose issue was math, they needed someone actually able to teach the math. I needed someone prepared to, whip me in my behind and make me stand up and take school seriously. And as we walk on our spiritual path, it's similar. We're gonna have different responses to different beings. But you do just want to make sure you don't want a guru who coddles you. Unless you are ego-free. If you are totally ego-free, then yeah, sure, you can have a guru who coddles you. But otherwise, you want to make sure that you do have a guru who's going to point out your ignorance to you. And you've got to be able to take it. That's the other dilemma with us as disciples. Like, we want to be coddled. But a real guru is going to be the one who actually removes that darkness. So they're going to call you on things. And they're going to force you to see your light, your own light, that truth. And it may be one amazing being for you. It may be a different amazing being for someone else. And isn't that wonderful? If there were only one guru for everyone, nobody would ever get time with their guru. Right? Imagine 8 billion people, one guru. Right? So it's beautiful. It's the same way like we all like different food, thank God. Otherwise you'd never get a seat in a restaurant. So allow yourself to recognize the diversity of not just preference, but the actual diversity of need for our bodies, for our minds, for our souls. Beautiful. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world online. And I look so forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And anyone whose question we didn't get to today, we will start with you tomorrow.
Thank you, Pujya Sadhviji. What a beautiful satsang. And for those who may not be here tomorrow and we won't be able to get to your question, please be sure to fill out a form in the back. We have some nice forms you can write your question down and put your email address, and we'll get in touch with you when your question is answered. Also, there are some cards with all the ways you can stay connected to us. And we also have a beautiful podcast, if you haven't seen it yet, called Ask Sadhviji. And it's a combination of meditations and lots of questions that you can download and listen to at your own